Oh, thank you. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Anne Hathaway, and I am so excited to be here with you today. Well, to be honest, I'd be excited to be here with you any day, but okay, I just got to be honest with you. I was at the Kennedy Center Honors last night in Washington, D.C., and the dinner ends at like 1 or 5 or some such a.m., so I haven't actually slept yet, so today's going to get funky. We're bringing a little funk to MoMA, and I couldn't be more thrilled. That isn't important. What is important, actually, you know what, to be here on the heels of the Kennedy Center honors, having watched 5 artists who have defined and improved our cultural terrain, and watching them be honored, made me happier than ever that I was going to be here with all of you today talking about today's momentous achievement. A few weeks ago, Giancarlo and Mr. Valentino asked me to be the godmother of this event, and I said the date was a conflict and there was absolutely no way. They persisted. They are exquisitely persistent. And they sat me down, and then they explained to me what today was about. Once I understood, I knew that there was absolutely nothing that could keep me from being here today. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are witnessing the birth of a revolution, and no, I do not believe that word is hyperbolic. The Valentino family has created something that has never existed before, a virtual museum that will change art, the art world, and how we experience both forever. But before we go there, a little history. In case you have been in a bunker for the last 45 years, Valentino Garavani is widely acknowledged to be one of, if not the best, fashion designers in the world ever. He dominated the landscape of fashion and design in his more than 40-year career, dressing everyone from princesses to first ladies to Oscar winners to the occasional young Hollywood up-and-comer. Young Hollywood up-and-comer. I'll get away with that for another like 5 seconds. He has devoted his life and his highly decorated, much lauded career to the expression of beauty. And he's infused his work with his love of music, dance, and the arts. He changed the world, giving us all a more beautiful, more sophisticated dream version of ourselves to hope for. And his overwhelming body of work baffles. And I mean this at every single Valentino event I have ever been to, and I've been to a few now. I just sit there and I go, how did he do that? And how can I get me some of that? You thought it too, don't lie. You saw that clip and you were just like, I want sequence. So that brings us to today, this moment, right now. The fashion world is famously fickle, with racing deadlines and lightning-quick turnover, the upside of which gives us all an enormous history of beauty to gorge ourselves on, should we be so inclined, the downside of which means great works of art occasionally get lost in the whirlwind. The pace can prevent you from fully marinating in the art and artistry of the clothes. Before today, there has never been a comprehensive way to inundate ourselves with that history, much to our loss. Valentino has made art. He has made groundbreaking, risky, convention-defying art for more than 40 years. And today, it is all available to all of us. What was once the exclusive world of couture has become an accessible landscape of elegance and inspiration for us all. Valentino has made timeless works of beauty that deserve to be experienced by everyone. Because of this virtual museum and the work Mr. Valentino, Giancarlo Giammetti, and so many people gave to it, now Valentino is available to the masses without sacrificing his artistry or his integrity. I cannot think of a more important occurrence in the fashion and art world than what we are experiencing today, and not even the human body's need for sleep could keep me from experiencing it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the future, better than we could have imagined it. For our first speaker, Editor-in-Chief of Italian Vogue, Franca Sozzani.
Good morning to everybody. So we are really, it's a very important moment. I think that, of course, I'm very proud to be here today. I'm Italian, and the fact that the Valentino will be the first who will open a virtual museum, for me, it's really something completely important, but completely different for the entire world. To open a virtual museum that opens today to the world without any restriction of time and money, I think it's a gift for the fashion world. But not only. It's a gift for everybody, for all of us, for the people who knows fashion, but for the people who doesn't know fashion, for the people who loves photography, and even for the people who love history of costume. Valentino is the first designer who opens his own doors to the creativity of his own world. And he shows how many of the trends and the images he did in the time, and still today, could be more modern than ever. You can really go in his wardrobe, in his collection, and still today you could remake these clothes and to wear and to live, and you'll be absolutely modern. But I really wanted to see how most of his images and most of his creativity was already in the 60s very famous, but was already very new. I want just to focus on 5 different points. And that, for me, they make Valentino unique, and they make, even for you, when you will see 5 key points that nobody else has never studied so much as he did. Let's talk about image. For image, my interpretation is about photography. Since the beginning, the images was very important for him. It was very important in the strategy of his work, was very important in the strategy of the campaign. And he has used all the most important photography in the world. There is no one that never did his campaign. And when we talk about his photographers, we can start from Lois Snowdon, classy. We can go to Helmut Newton, provocative and sexy. We can go to Steven Meisel, eccentric and very, sometimes unconventional. Mario Testino, Mette Marcus, Ine van Lansenberg, Stephen Klein, Deborah Turbeville, Peter Lindbergh, Craig McDean, Mario Sorrenti, and many others. I could go on the list and never end. Valentino always found a fil rouge in this idea in using different photographers. He has never been afraid to try unconventional ideas. And sometimes it was completely unexpected. And sometimes it was completely new, even in the world of the image, where you know that everybody is trying his best. There is another point, that are the models. The models have been the most inspiring women for him, and he's always used the most beautiful women in the world. Now, when you see in the runway, and we are used to see girls, not maybe that beautiful they were at that time, because it was the time of the supermodels, but before the supermodels, he was Verushka. He was Iman. He was many other women that today we don't even remember, but they are still the icons of our era. Of course, he used Linda Evangelista, Naomi, Kate Moss, Claudia Schiffer, all of these women that today are not only the icons of our era, but they are even friends of Mr. Valentino. Anyway, their attitude and their style of these girls, of these models, they are still today an example of elegance. And when you see the old pictures of them dressed in Valentino, you can see how grand they look and how elegant, something that probably today, in a way, we are lost. let's talk about another category, let's say women, call them women. Women are all these kind of women that this could be like the icon of any different moment. About Jackie Onassis, but we can talk about princess, about queens, about socialites, about stars, about beautiful stars as Anne Hathaway, Julia Roberts, Gwyneth Paltrow. They've always been their clients, but because they love the clothes, not because they've been asked to wear. And this makes very different. And I remember for once Julia Roberts chose a vintage dress, and this dress made around the world in such a big impression because it looks so modern and was from the 60s. What is really important for Valentino is class, beauty, elegance, eccentricity. And all these women, they've been dressed with clothes that have been studied for them one by one on purpose, just to make them completely different, one from the other, one off. But another point is a fashion. When we talk about fashion, we think about elegance, we think about chic, we think about something that makes Valentino somebody the symbol of elegance. But somebody, maybe they don't know, and you will see how creative and how unexpected he was in the 60s. And he first is the only designer that made of a color a style, red. And still today, when we go around and we see the fashion show, and we see a red dress, we say this is a Valentino red dress. So he did even another thing that today is very in fashion, and is animalier, the Prince animalier. And the giraffe, leopard, zebra, but he did even a collection inspired by art, like a Kaufman or antique Chinese ceramic. He did the A-line and the palazzo pyjama. He used embroideries, and even very simple, expensive, but beautiful double cashmere. But he invented in the early 60s something that today everybody's talking about, logomania, but at that time was a neologism. Nobody even knew that was a new word. He put the V everywhere, on the pocket, on the shirt, on the jacket, on the coat. And he invented for the first time the logomania. His archives, when you see, are unique. Are unique because are a real lesson of style and creativity, and is a big help for the future, and even to understand the future of fashion. Last point that for me is the most important, because I think it makes Valentino the one he is today, is unique, is the handcraft and the couture. He was just one of the very few who started with the couture, and he will always continue the research of materials, of shape, of precious handcraft. But he never played to shock people. He never wanted to shock the journalists. Maybe he didn't even care about that much about journalists, because his main point he was to dress women to make them beautiful, attractive, sexy, but chic, elegant, and never vulgar. Every single pleats, every single detail that you see in his dresses, you can only think and imagine him to live and to work close to close with the premiere in his atelier. Today, thanks to the museum, everybody can see, and they can understand the work, the evolution, and the student can learn, and maybe can understand that fashion is a fantastic word, but it's not that easy. Not everybody is so talented to go on in the years. But I want even to underline that the generosity in showing his work to the world, I want to remind something that's happened 15 years ago when he did a book, a very simple book, a manual, like a diary in which he took the pictures of every single dress in a different way, outside, inside, in the way you can see how was the handcraft and how it was made. And this is a fantastic lesson to know how to make a dress. This was 15 years ago. We were not still in the internet era, but he was already in the web direction. Here are today to see the web result. And I want to introduce Mr. Valentino.
Mrs. Sozzani, she said the most beautiful thing about me, but I think she did a little too much. Anyway, good morning, good morning. I welcome you today. You're here in this room and all of you watching online. In the beginning, it has been quite difficult for me to understand this project. I was 17 when I started to work, and in my entire career when I designed a dress. To see the dress moving, to have real women wearing them. The dress is alive, real, and everything else around the dress, the show, the photography, the models are all real. And so a virtual museum was not easy to understand. And then, little by little, I started to change my thinking, to get fascinated by this virtual world where the dresses have a different life and everybody can reach them with an easy click. And with another click, they can study them in all detail and information. I also discovered that the museum is a simple and direct connection to the people who have followed me for so many years, young designer and student. I am moved that today we have so many students here in this audience. I hope you will enjoy the museum as much as I do now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Valentino. And Franca, your words really touched me, and that was a really, really beautiful speech, and I hope Mr. Valentino and Giancarlo include your speech in the website because it's worth reviewing your words. You made some beautiful points, and I agree with you about Mr. Valentino's generosity. May I please ask you to join me for a few words about Giancarlo Giammetti. This man created the Valentino Garavani Virtual Museum. He was a student of architecture, and in his partnership with Valentino, which has spanned the life of the brand Valentino, he developed the architecture of their business, a model that has inspired many fashion houses since. In creating the virtual museum and thus adding to the Valentino legacy, they are poised to repeat this inspiration and set the bar for other future fashion houses. On a personal note, he is the coolest, freshest dude in any museum, yes, it's true, but room he is in. And incidentally, Gwyneth Paltrow calls him her nonna, which, in case you don't know, is the Italian word for grandma. I'm so happy I got to use that one. I'm just happy to call him my friend and auntie. Ladies and gentlemen, Giancarlo Giammetti.
I was not expecting this. It was not nonna, it was nonno. So let's clear this. But we are here to talk not about me, but about this adventure that Valentina and I started, and why we started. It all started with one question: where to keep the enormous amount of almost 50 years of activity, all the documents, all the dresses, all the photography we collected and we put in an archive from the beginning. The archive, of course, was a very simple at the time, but with years and years it developed in a more organized archive. So where to keep those things when we stop working? And also how to make it available to so many people who want to see it, they want to explore it, they want to study it. Maybe a classic fashion museum. We love a fashion museum, of course, and we respect enormously the work they do in preserve those masterpieces of dresses. But for a single designer, how easy it is to make it his own museum, and how to make it exciting year after year with new things without becoming dusty or obsolete. And why then not to use a modern technology and build an ideal space with an architecture that we decide we can invent without limits, where everybody could move just with a click, and especially where the language will be easily to understood by future generation. We had obviously a lot of advantages. First of all, the genius of Valentino, who in his extraordinary vision was able to create a coherent, a concrete heritage. And as I said, we had also this enormous archive of over 100,000 historical items. So the idea for the Valentino Garavani Virtual Museum was born. The first in fashion, and I think one of the most innovative virtual museums in the world. In fact, you enter a modern building of over 100,000 square feet, where a huge red cube welcomes you in a courtyard under a Roman sky. We wanted to keep something Roman. And while we were working on a simple line for the building, we decided to keep the sky of Rome, the blue sky of Rome with clouds moving. So every room has a skylight with this Roman sky. 18 galleries open with over 300 dresses, 5,000 photos and documents, and over 100 video of a fashion show. Don't forget the amount don't seem so big under the videos, but video of show start in the early 80s. So it's a quite recent, a young adventure. Special music has been commissioned or created just for the museum, and you will discover that it's easier to navigate through because there is a menus and there is a maps. Key dresses has been photographed in 360 degrees. They rotate, they revolve, and you can see every stitch, every line. And if you click again, you discover also the history of the dress, where, why, whom wore it. You will find also, like Franca say, the famous advertising campaign that we commissioned to the greatest photographers in the world. And you can move it through galleries full of a photo of friends, of drawings, of press clipping. Those animated galleries show the work of just one man and his life dedicated to beauty. For the future, let's talk about future. We intend for the museum to keep evolve with more rooms and more information all the time. And we plan, as Anne suggested, to use qualified people in fashion and culture and ask them to give us a master class or just write a blog. And we hope one day for you young student in the room and you student from all over the world who are watching us live online, we hope that one day we'll be able to create a competition and an award for the best of you. And I think now it's time to enter the Valentino Virtual Museum.
You glide, invisible, unseen. through this chamber and the succession of salons that follow, you find more visions of miraculous dressmaking. Explore the works of Valentino Garavani, dresses in 7 galleries, a virtual museum covering over 10,000 square meters. See not just the dresses themselves, but the stories behind them. The women who wore them. Runway debuts. Explore couture details. Journey through 5 decades of style. Relive spectacular events. Travel the galleries of both the artist and the subject. Experience the world of a master.
Ooh la la, this dress is something very, very important in my life. I make it for Jackie Kennedy.
And his other half.
I was all the time with him. I was all the time in this fashion house that already existed. Valentino was for sure the enfant prodige of fashion.
A vast media library of over 5,000 images, hundreds of dresses, and 180 fashion show videos. This is the Valentino Garavani Virtual Museum.
I think that was pretty amazing. Before I get to who I am and why I'm here, I just wanted to, tell you about how immersive this download has been for me. I think the theme of this morning has been a click. And I've been clicking away for the last few weeks since I got access to this, and it's been awesome. So I'm here, I'm actually one of the people Anne mentioned. I've been living in a bunker for the last 40 years. I don't really know much about fashion, art, or Valentino, to be very honest with you. But that bunker is called technology. I work at Google, and a couple of years ago, I started a project at Google to bring museums, physical institutions online, and the artworks they host. For example, MoMA is one of our partners, and it's called the Google Art Project. So Mr. Giammetti offered a meeting in Paris a couple of weeks ago. And he said, I like what you do. Do you want to see what I'm going to do? And I said, yeah, sure, I'll come down. And to be very honest, I was absolutely blown away by what he showed me, because what he was doing was skipping the physical. He was going straight to the digital. And this is exactly what users online are looking for. They're looking for more content around art, around culture, around fashion. So for me, this work is an immersive experience to really, go deep into the work of an artist. And we don't get many opportunities like that in today. Today it's you go to the museum, you have the painting, you have a little bit of information, and then you go search for more. Here you get everything, videos, news clippings, the whole deal. So I'm not going to waste more of your time, but my personal favorite is the masterclass. I'm learning more about this world, and I'm trying to click, and click away. Thank you.
I would like to invite Giancarlo and Valentino to invite me on stage at this point, please. I would like to invite a dear friend of the Valentino family on stage as well. Hugh Jackman is in the audience. Would you like to come on stage and join us? Hi. I'm not going to lie, I just did it for this view. Right there. Come. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my complete honor and privilege to be here and to open the Valentino Garavani Virtual Museum. Don't go.
Oh, okay.
Well, Hugh, you can go.
I'll go, yeah.
If you must, I mean, we were all enjoying the show, but we will now take a few questions from the audience for our panel. When you are selected, please introduce yourselves for the benefit of our live stream audience. So, you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm?
I'm here.
You're here. Good. Thank you.
Question.
Hi, I'm Vanessa Friedman. I'm from the Financial Times. Valentino, Mr. Giammetti. It's a pleasure to be here. I actually have a couple questions. First, how long did it take to create this? Second, what was the cost vis-a-vis a regular bricks and mortar building? And then third, have you put into place any measures to ensure that the museum keeps pace with the development of new technology?
It took over 2 years, and we have been working with amazing people. People we did use, whose skill we did use already for the 45th anniversary in Italy. People like Patrick Hilmot, Antonio Monfreda, and this great French company called Novacom. and it took almost 2 years to design all this. Of course, as Valentino say, is a world very different for us, very new. So of course we try to keep up with the new things which are discovered. Definitely, I thought that, and we thought that the museum is done, and tomorrow we can relax. In fact, it's not true at all. Tomorrow we start working how to develop more things and how to keep up with the new technologies. There was another question I forgot.
What was the cost vis-a-vis a regular building?
The cost?
Cost, money.
Cost? I don't know. It's a lot of money. But I also want to say that Valentina and I decide that the website is free. Nobody should pay to download the application. And I do believe that is something important for the new generations. And, all the investment has been done by Valentina and myself. There is no sponsors, and there is no one else who put money in this adventure.
Thank you so much for sharing this with us. It was extremely beautiful. My name is Imran Ahmed. I'm from the business of fashion. One question for you I had is, as you look ahead to the future and you think about what this museum is achieving for you, I mean, the legacy that you're trying to protect, I'm just curious to understand from Mr. Giammetti, how do you measure success of this kind of initiative? You know, what is it that you're trying to accomplish? And for Mr. Valentino, I'm curious, we heard from some people about what their favorite element of the museum is. I'd be curious to know, now that it's all done, what's your favorite part of the museum?
It's a big souvenir for me. I have so many dresses that I create through all my time. And I love all of them, but you know, I can do 10 virtual museum to be able to use all my clothes. At what Mr. Giammetti was explaining before, we try to do something to continue with this virtual museum, and especially, I don't know, I love to design, to draw, and I'm going to do unbelievable drawing of new creation, because thank God I'm still quite creative. So this one could be one thing very important. And many other things.
Qual è quello che ti è piaciuto di più?
The dress, I mean, I love the first image you have, with all the print, with all the detail, with all the embroidery in the big picture. This I love it very much. Of course, creating the red color, I love also all the room with the red dresses. But you know, it's very difficult for me to say which one I love, which one I like. You know, they are like my children, so.
You ask how to measure the success of an operation. You know, we never, I met Valentino and I was 18, he was 24. And we never had in mind to measure success with numbers. Of course, there is no success without numbers. We made the dress, he made amazing dresses, but the first thing that was asking, how many of them we sold? But was not our main reason. We succeed, we have fame and fortune, but in the meantime, every time we start an operation, we start really for the pleasure to do it, for the love to do it. And I think this is the same way. How many clicks we will have tomorrow? They will come and tell us, but it's not this. To have you here, to be able to enjoy what we've done, this is the measure of success.
Good morning. Gianluca Lovetro, editor-in-chief of Book Moda. Valentino, you spoke about a different life of dresses online. Which is this difference compared with the real life of dresses in a street? And for Mr. Giammetti, this museum is the first step for a real museum in Italy. Thank you.
Certainly, it's the first museum, a virtual museum in Italy, certainly. And what else? I was with my head, I don't know where. I'm sorry.
Qual è la differenza tra un vestito qua e un vestito vero?
The difference to see a dress in the street and to see it, what you did at the virtual museum is something, of course, the big difference. You don't see the dress moving, the dress leaving us, and you, I explain, you know, I've been close in one room in my studio for 47 years to create dresses, to have girl mannequin in front of me and to fit all the collection with hundreds and hundreds of clothes. You know, I remember in the 80s, my collection, they were with 180 exits. Things that today, if you have 40 dresses in one collection, people, they are bored and they want to leave. But the difference is that in the virtual museum, you see a static dress, but you can click, you can look all the detail. Then no, it's not a person that is seated in a fashion show and she look the dresses moving and going up and down. Of course, they are more static, but for people that they are not able to go to see fashion shows, they don't touch couture dresses, or they don't touch ready-to-wear dresses, is fantastic and can be exceptional for everybody to see what I did or what somebody else did.
And about the museum in Italy, you are Italian, you represent an Italian newspaper, so there is a little of maybe hint that we did the museum virtual because we didn't get the famous Valentino Museum. It has nothing to do with this. I know that the Valentino company is still discussing with the mayor of Rome the possibility to do a Valentino Museum, but the mayor of Rome changes so many every year that each one has to start all over again. So I don't think that it will never happen. But it's not for this that we did this virtual museum. We did it because we do believe in the future of the Valentino after us. As I say in my little introduction, to be on your own and to be sure that your own museum and your own real museum can survive after you, can live after you, and the people take care after you. I think it's much more difficult than in the world of today, find people who will be able to continue a virtual museum legacy.
You know, I have to tell you something very important. A real museum in a city, whatever is the city, is something, of course, for the first year, maybe 2 years, 3 years, very, very beautiful. People, they go, they look the dresses very close. But after, with the long time, after a long time, political people, they change. Maybe the museum doesn't exist anymore. The dresses, they are going to Marché aux Puces or Portobello, I don't know where. So it's much better to have it there in the virtual museum so people, they can look at all the time.
I'm Valerie Steele, director of the museum at the Fashion Institute of Technology. You've created the first virtual fashion museum. I'm sure many people are going to try and follow you in this. What were some of the greatest challenges you faced and some of the greatest surprises you encountered in creating this?
But the challenge first was the language. We have to understand the technology. Valentino, as he said, is not a great a technological person. Still, somebody has to switch on turn on the television for him. So that's where we are. So I have been a bit more advanced in technology. I am a great fan of anything new, but the language is completely different, of course. And we are trying to learn, and we will learn, and we will improve.
And surprises? Did anything surprise you about the process?
About what?
No, I don't think we had a surprise. It's been a long journey, step by step, so we anticipate the surprises.
Wilson from the New York Times, and I'm wondering, as you've been the subject of a documentary and seen enormous interest in your life story since your retirement, how do you feel that the world's perception of Valentino has changed in recent years? How do you feel this museum will continue to change that perception? And as you get into the world of technology, I'm also wondering if you've ever Googled yourself.
Non ho capito.
Ma solo capisci. Is it true? It is true that Valentino, after he stopped working, gained a different stature thanks to the documentary, and because, and also I think thanks to this museum will increase. I think that people wanted to know more about Valentino, and the documentary did open this window in his life, in his private life, in his affective life, and I guess people like it. People start to understand better his work through this, and it's amazing, like, especially in this country, you walk in the street and people recognize Valentino all the time. And sometimes, you know, they recognize him more for the movie than for his work, which sometimes is very boring for him. But it's true. And if somebody thought that when Valentino and I stopped working, would be sitting in a bench in Central Park giving food to the fishes, better change mind, because we are not going to stop here.
No, what? Come ho detto, volevo sapere della moda di adesso.
No.
But anyway, I'm sorry if I want to tell you something. But this is the future. You know, he explained very well that I am not capable to open. Maybe once I arrive in one of my houses and I want to see a DVD, and I have to call down in the town the guy, the expert, to come to open it, to put the DVD, because I am completely out of these mechanical things. But you know, the first day you were here and you saw the virtual museum. But speaking for the future, I hope in 40 years, in 50 years, if we are all there, all in this room, you have the possibility to see many other virtual museums. Then certainly new designer they do, so you see how the fashion goes.
I'm Gianpietro Baudo from MF Fashion. Only one question. You have been pioneers, because really this project is really something very new. You think that fashion right now is looking for new languages to express herself and needs new languages to express herself?
Yeah, I think that it does. I think that the setup of fashion today has taken a lot of freedom out of the designers. The bottom line of the companies is more important than the expression of their vision. And I think that in a certain way, technology can help it to conquest again a certain freedom, to dream a bit more. And I think in fashion today there is no enough dream. Valentino is a dreamer. I am a dreamer in a way. We left fashion because dreams were not there anymore. And I think you can, again, capture a certain dream in a virtual museum.
Hi, guys. I'm so sorry that that's all the time we have for questions, because I have so many. And I'm sure everyone feels the same way. I'd like to thank you both so much for inviting me to be a part of today. I'd like to apologize to Hugh Jackman for shamelessly objectifying him. I'd like to apologize even more to his wife. I hope I can still come to your Christmas party. But I'd mostly like to thank all of you, and you, of course, for this incredible gift that you've given all of us. Please visit the Valentino Garavani Virtual Museum. It's available for download at www.valentinogaravani, archives.org. And for those of you here, please join us in the lobby to explore the museum directly. Don't be jealous. You did so great.